So I went out and got some more of that foam board. There's a sheet of it laying over there. I've got to cut one more of these out so that I can get that 4-inch intake. For those of you that don't understand what is happening here, I started building this carbon fiber, or this mold for a carbon fiber intake for an 8.3 Cummins. At some point in time, I decided that maybe I had to add more space into this thing so that when I go to lay the carbon fiber up, I have room to be able to do it on the bottom side of it. But in thought, I was taking away the flow of air towards restricted ports. So I decided what I was going to do is make a second one that is more tapered off to get more of a linear flow of air in towards those restricted ports. And if you don't understand, you can go back and watch parts maybe 6, 7, and 8, and it'll be self-explanatory about that. But anyways, here's a new update, and let's continue. And then I'll start gluing it up. First of all, I have to clean this up a little bit, and then I'll start gluing it up again. That when I cut that foam board, it gets, I just cut it with the jab saw, and it cuts, it makes a coarser cut. This stuff is all over the place, so I'd like to get it cleaned up before I start gluing it up again. So what I'm doing is making the second one, which is going to have a much sharper taper down towards it, so that it may force the air into those buried cylinder ports that are on that intake runner. But anyways, I'll bring you back. Okay, I got you back over here to the carbon fiber intake, and what I did is I got those O-rings from Napa. Now, I'm not really sure if they're going to work or not. They are pretty small in diameter, so I'm not, again, I got 5 of them. Okay, so they're kind of too loose to begin with. That has to be built up a little more. It's really rough, and that I don't think off the top of my head, sorry, didn't mean to kick you. I don't think off the top of my head they're going to work, because I don't think they would be tall enough to mold the carbon fiber off over and have a big enough bump up to protrude through the layers of carbon fiber to make the ridge in the round circular ridge in the thing to hold the silicone glued on. So I've got them, you know, I mean, maybe I can use them for something sometime if I don't use them for this. I think I'm probably going to go with that electric wire type of scenario. Let me see what I can do, though. Sometimes we have no control over what's going to happen. So I glued this stuff up yesterday, and what happened is, as you can see, it took a curve. It's just the way that the foam reacts to that contact cement. Now, I'm not going to say this is a bad thing, because I might be able to shape it that way to take it. The only thing it's going to do is it's going to, and hopefully you can see this, when it sets flat, the inlet port is going to be cocked down. But that doesn't make any difference because more than likely the tube coming from the intercooler will be down lower and have to come up anyway. So it might work out for the best. Now, could I have prevented that? I probably could have. I could have laid it up kind of against some blocking or something to keep it from doing that, but I had no idea that it was going to do that. So if I'd been able to foresee it, yeah, I could have probably prevented it. But being able to foresee it is probably a 1 in a million shot. And see, this is some of the things that you run into. You never know where the contact cement has just eaten away, or it probably cooked it off, or it's a chemical reaction, but it deteriorated the foam. So you have these voids in here, and you never know when it's going to happen. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. It's not wasted. I may be able to work around that. Let's see. I'm going to try and shape it out a little bit, see what happens. Maybe a lot of that material will be removed anyway, so we'll see what happens. See, over here it didn't really do it like that, but you never can tell. I could get another inch or two into that, and I could have the same thing as happened over there. We'll bring you back. So what I'm doing is starting to rough it out. I kind of laid out a curvature here and cut out that, and then just started roughing it out with a rasp so that I could get a vision of what I want it to look like. And then as you work it more, I just cut it off with the coping saw, and we'll just keep working it and try and get that vision in my mind. I want this thing to kind of flow down and out at the same time, so it's like multi-dimensional, but you just gotta kind of work it slow and keep working at it. You don't want to take too much off to the point where you destroy your design and you can't put it back on. It would be hard to put it back on again. Okay, so what I've done is put the first coat of body filler on it. Now it isn't to the shape that I want it to, but where I kind of showed you where those crevices were, where the chemical reaction expanded that or made those gaps in there, it becomes flimsy, and I need to get some stability behind it so that I can shape it better. So that's kind of what this coat is for, just to get those areas stabilized so that I can get that shape better. I kind of probably want to contour it down a little more and get that shape better, but to do it I need to get some stability in between them layers where they separated. So I just got done kind of applying the second coat of body filler, trying to fill in those voids that I was talking about so that it makes the foam more workable. You can't really, you can work it to a certain extent, but where it gets to those voids, like in these areas here, then what happens is you're working it with a rasp or anything, it just kind of folds down under itself. So you're not really shaping a contour, you're just kind of pushing it down and it springs back up again. So you have to kind of get some stabilization in there, and I do it with that body filler to to stabilize it. So once I get it to that point, then I can start really shaping it to the way I want it to. Yeah. Anyways, I'll bring you back. So it's another day, and one of the things that I kind of had forgotten about was the height that it had to be so that I could lay in the fabric and stuff when I go to do the carbon fiber Kevlar. So what I did is added another piece to it, another layer to it, so that it made it more accessible when I go to lay it up. That I can get the fabric in there and get it squeegeed out and get it laid in there properly. So what I did is I put it on, and I just went and took a grinder with a flapper disc on it and kind of reshaped it, because again I had shaped it so that it came down, but then I added another layer on it, and I wanted to make that transition into that other layer as linear and flowing as much as possible down. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm doing that. I'm gonna mix up some more body filler. I kind of, after bringing it over here and bringing you guys along with me, looking at it, this one's more tapered than this one, so I'm probably going to go over to the flapper disc and work on that just a little bit more before I start filling in those voids that I kept talking about, where the chemical reaction of the adhesive contact cement has deteriorated the foam in there. But I'll just fill it in with body filler. Fill it in enough so that it stabilizes. I don't want to go all out because I'm not sure of how hard this mold is going to be to get out of the carbon fiber. Again, this is a destructible mold, so once I lay it up and it hardens, what I've got to do is kind of pick all of this stuff back out of it. Main goal is the flow, the internal flow of the thing, a smooth, linear flow of air into that head. Rather, yeah, of course I'm concerned about the outward appearance of it. Most people build carbon fiber stuff for the looks of it. I'm more concerned about, again, the smooth flow of the inside. You want as smooth as possible so that you don't create any air turbulence in this thing, so that you have a smooth linear flow of air going into the air inlet of the head. And again, this one over this one, where the air here is going down into the head, hopefully the air here is going to be more of a smooth flow to get into those concealed ports of the head, 1 and 2, 5 and 6. Actually, this is 1 and 2, this is 5 and 6, but the point is getting a smoother linear flow into those concealed areas of the head. Okay, so it's another day again. What I've done after I shot that last clip is added filler to the sides of it and am working it down. Now, I'm just adding filler to pick up, again, a smooth, even flow on this thing on the inside. What will be the inside of the carbon fiber intake I make. I just want to make sure that that air flows smoothly. and I wanted to kind of uniform it out. Like I told you, I had thought that this side had more of a taper, so I came over here and worked this side a little bit more. I've got to, I got a bunch of stuff going on, personal stuff, so I don't have a lot of time to spend on this, and sometimes I'll do something like I put some body filler on yesterday and then got a phone call that I had to take, and it hardened up on me, so I've spent a lot of time sanding on it. Hardened up on me before, because what I do is you get to that state of body filler where it's set but it's still a little wet, and you can use this rasp to really shape it well. It works perfectly, but what happened is I had put it on and I didn't get a chance to come back and do the rasp thing because of the phone call, and it's set up, so now I've got to sand it down. But you know, such is life. It's something that happens, and it happens quite often. So anyways, I'll bring you back and show you progress. So as I had mentioned in this previous clip, I had not gotten to this. It had hardened, and there's a lot of sanding that's done to it. I did stop and pick up some 60 grit paper, which I had 80, but I picked up some 60 so that I could have a little more aggressive grit to get to it too. So I've still got shaping and sanding on this, and I've really only done the one side. The other side has to be done. There has to be a curved area in here to kind of transform, make it a curved surface where the air goes on into the head on the inside of it, as in this one. As you can see, this one is curved, and yeah, there goes that gimbal again. Is curved. So a lot more has to be done with that, but we're getting towards the end of this video, and let me just explain something. I'm to the point with this one where it's only some touch-up work. I've still got to do the two roll-ups or jet outs for where I put the silicone boot onto it so that I can get a clamp between it. But this one is a lot farther along, just some more detail work, a little bit more sanding and these things, and I would be ready to start mounting it up. So at this point in time, what I think I'm going to do is start really looking at material that I'm going to be using. There's a bunch of stuff, not only the fabric, the fiber, whether it be pure carbon fiber or if I'm going to use Kevlar also. There's a carbon Kevlar weave. There's a very good possibility that I might use that, or I might use one layer of that or 2 layers of that and like 4 layers of the other carbon fiber. So I'm going to really be taking a hard look at that. But then there is the resin that I have to get, whether it be epoxy or there's other types of resins. I have to really take a good look at that. And then I have to get the mold release, which is like a paint, and the wax, if I'm going to use wax also. But there's a bunch of stuff that I've got to get. So I'm going to be taking a hard look at it before the next video, and probably have it ordered before that. So that's going to be it for this intake build update, but stick around and I'll bring you back for more of them.